Fitzy and Whipper.
We kicked the show off this morning with some more sad news over the weekend. Geez, I tell you what, in cricket Dean Jones has passed, Rodney Marsh, Shane Warne, and over the weekend, unfortunately, we got the news that Andrew Symonds passed away in a car accident. An amazing man, very, very loyal, very passionate. Anyone that knew Andrew Symonds, he was straight down the line, and one man had a bit to do with him. He is one of the chief cricket writers at News Corp, and catch him on the back page as well on Fox Sports, is Robert Crash Craddock. He joins us this morning. Thanks for coming on, Crash.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Fitzy. Yes, as you said, sad news. And that group of four, Jones, Marsh, Warne and Symonds, all entertainers, characters, larrikins. And that's why I think it cuts just that bit deeper.
You know, Crash, you must be sitting back thinking, I can't believe I'm going to have to do another eulogy-type chat for a different cricketer. Because you're right, they're all characters and everybody wants to celebrate them with the great stories.
Yes, you're so right, Whipper. The news came through about 6 a.m. Yesterday, and I was just getting ready to have breakfast with their old mate Tony Squires at the back page in Brisbane for Magic Round. But you're right, it's freakish, and the circumstances were shattering. I mean, Andrew, because he was sort of adopted and was of West Indian and English heritage, he went out of his way to be Australian. And his cattle dogs at the scene of the car crash rallied around him and were very much in distress. And that when his mates heard that, there was country music still playing on the radio in his car, which he loved, you know. And it's sad beyond words. And him texting good buddies at 8:30, just about an hour and a half before it, in good spirits, watching Magic Round and taking it easy. So, but you're right. The freakishness of what's happening in cricket is, it's jarring, Whip, I have to say.
There was an element to him. He loved Townsville and far north Queensland so much. He loved fishing so much, Crash. And over the years, you wrote about this, but towards the end of his career, I feel there was an element of Andrew Symonds where, you know, cricket is so professional. You give up your whole life to travel around the world and play cricket, but he always wanted that life of being out on the water, Crash, and getting away from it. He got into trouble a little bit for getting on the booze, missing training sessions, and there was always an element of him wanting to go back home, wasn't there?
Fitzy, there was. He, as someone said to me yesterday, he'd have been perfect in the 1970s or 80s, you know, when he could really kick it around off the field. But he felt that spirit was lost in the game, and it was so important to him because he was never materialistic. So long as he had a tinny, a fishing rod, a crab pot, and a cold beer, that was all he wanted. So he was the only cricketer I've ever known to ask for a pay cut. Cricket Australia. He said, if you cut my wages by 20%, I just want to do 20% less gigs for corporate Australia. He said, I just want to disappear up north. He said, I don't care about the money, which they refused to do. They said, no, you've got to do it because he was a superstar. All the corporates wanted him, but he just wanted that quiet life. A man apart, and as I said, a throwback to a different era.
I mean, you look at some of the images now and the photos that have appeared of Shane Warne and Andrew Symonds just standing side by side. I watched a clip yesterday where the two of them were talking, and you know, Andrew tells that story about, I'm not sure who he was batting with, and he ran in. You would know the story, Crash. And he hit the first ball for 6 and ran in and gave him a big hug. And then the rooms looked at his head, and the other bloke's head was bleeding. And he said, "What's happened to your head?" He said, "Well,
it was, and it's a great story you've just told. It was Simon's first test century at the MCG against England." And Hayden told me last night from India, the very moment you've just described, Whipper, was the high point of his whole career. He said, Simo and I had been through, we'd seen kids born, he'd had a divorce, we'd been to funerals, and to share that moment at the crease, he said, he hit me so hard that my helmet cut my forehead. He said, but I look back and he said, that's my high point in the game, mate. He said, you know, don't worry about World Cups and everything. He said, I lived that with him. And he said the sauce on top of it was that he sledged Kevin Peterson throughout the innings for wearing tight T-shirts. He said, how can you get any better?
Hey, Crash, the other thing as well, he could have been a great rugby league player, couldn't he? I know he trained, when he was outside of cricket, he used to go down with Wayne Bennett and the Brisbane Broncos and do tackling practice with the professional guys.
He did, and in 2001, he was such a man of impulse. He said to John Buchanan, I'm retiring from cricket. I'm going to play with the Broncos because I just don't trust people in cricket anymore. And it was a really, and he ended up playing on for quite a few more years. But he went and trained with the Broncos, had a nice physique for a back rower. But Wayne Bennett said to him, as a rugby league player, you're a fabulous cricketer. So go back to where you belong. But he did. I saw him play in a charity game, and he loved the sledging. It was against a group of New South Wales Origin old boys, and he was sniping away in a Simo sort of way. It was quite sweet, actually. But there was a story everywhere, and I love where the time he missed a team meeting in Darwin to go fishing, and he was in eyeball deep in trouble. They'd had enough of him. Yeah. But Matthew Hayden was furious until he sent him a photo with a barramundi that he caught.
Wow.
And said, with the tagline, "Hey, mate, look what you've missed by going to that meeting."
Isn't that great?
Crash, was there ever a moment where you were a bit nervous around him? Because I know you wrote a few articles about him. Did he ever get his back up with you?
Oh, yeah, definitely, Fitzy. We had some blues over the years. And see, he took a long while to find his feet, and I always felt that he was a bit of an underachiever, but he was just feeling his way. So I look back at that, think maybe I just got it wrong. But, oh, yeah. And in a bar, I remember once there was a group of journos in the bar, and one of his Queensland teammates, when he went to the toilet, hid his stubby cooler. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he said, mate, it was those journos. Fancy them coming over here and stealing your stubby cooler. So he's gone across the journos and said, which one of yous was it? You know what I mean? With that look of flame in his eye. But see, we look back at all these things, and there was a lovely get-together last night, Fitzy, impromptu, at the Storybridge Hotel. People like Ian Healy, John Buchanan, Mike Kaspovitz, they all got, about a group of 10 of them, Matthew Mott, got together to share memories and toast the man that he was.
Great. Yeah, that's beautiful. Well
Crash,
said. Well
beautiful,
said, Crash.
Beautiful, mate. You can grab Crash on Fox Cricket, also sports journalist for the Courier Mail and News Corp. We appreciate your time. We know how busy you're going to be today, mate. So thanks for coming on the show, legend.
It's my pleasure. I could talk about him all day.
Thanks,
you guys.
Crash. Take care, mate.
Thanks, buddy.
Fitzy and Whipper.